Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and guess what series is back? Oh yes, Storytime. Wait, what the hell is this series called? Is that Storytime with Des? That's not even Magic Stories. What did I'm not gonna look it up. I'm just gonna think of it. Hold on. Oh yeah, Ixalan storyline as told by Desolator. And we're off to a grand start already. So, chapter 1 was released. Good luck finding it. I mean, seriously, you can barely find it on Google if you already know to look for it. I think it might have been a link on some kind of social media. If you go to the website and click on stories, they don't even have an Ixalan link at all. It is basically impossible to find this. Good job, Wizards. I mean, seriously, you guys don't even know how to run a website. You have proven that many, many, many times. In fact, their Arena beta website is kind of a disaster because either in the past or right now, I don't remember which, probably both, they kind of forgot to put a location for the promo code. Whoops. You know, the one that gives you priority access? Yeah, well, anyway, from what I understand, in the last storyline, which is, of course, Hour of Devastation from the plane Amon Ket, in the fight with Nicol Bolas, Jace lost his memory, or at least it was heavily implied. And, yeah, apparently people are already making fun of it because, well, I mean, the whole movie was just a dream. The whole episode was just a dream. Oh, the good guy was actually the bad guy. Oh my gosh. Oh, the character has amnesia and doesn't know where he is. Oh. All absolute quality, highly regarded, very well respected storyline, I don't know, ideas, I guess you would say. So this whole entire storyline, Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan, or whatever the hell they're calling it, Champions, I think it was initially called, and then they changed it. Well, and then, of course, Explorers of Ixalan, which is not a real set. I don't feel like explaining that. Look it up yourself. But, yeah, let's just jump right into the storyline then. Because, I mean, it's just probably not going to get better from here. Then again, it can't get worse than, oh, Amnesia, he doesn't know where he is. Which, by the way, I already am very, very much thinking, okay, this isn't going to progress anything. Like, we don't know where Nicol Bolas went, where the rest of the Planeswalkers went. We're not going to hear from them for at least 6 months. And that kind of pisses me off because I was getting way into the story. I mean, it's been like chaining together, then the formation of the Gatewatch, and then they go after Bolas, and I actually didn't read any of the storyline from Aether Revolt. But yeah, this sucks. This is just, oh, I don't know where I am. Let's go on a mission to find out who I am. Oh boy. I have a feeling this is going to suck. And also, one more little preface here. They removed authors' names from all of these articles because it was hurting their feelings. Oh no, you guys. How dare people give perfectly legitimate and, well, sometimes constructive feedback about somebody's crappy authorship? So instead of, as a solution, get better authors or tell your authors to get better at writing, you just remove the author's name because, oh, boo-hoo, they can't take it. They can't take criticism. Oh, poor them. They should go retreat to their safe zone and hide behind anonymity. And I thought about being a complete dick and telling you exactly who wrote every single one of these stories because at this point I could easily tell. But whatever, I don't want to make waves. So the story starts with, the man opened his eyes. Let's just stop after the first 2 words there. I am so triggered right now as a man. Okay, you're using the M word. Clearly that was written by a woman and they cannot use the M word. That's our word. Why is it so important that in the first 2 words you have to say he's a man? And in fact, why degenerate it to, oh, the man opened his eyes. His name is Jace. He has a name, okay? You can refer to him by his damn name. We already know who it is. It's Jace. Just because he doesn't know who he is doesn't mean you don't know who he is. So cut the harsh language and quit being sexist. So anyway, the man opened his eyes. He lay on his back, looking up through a canopy of delicate green toward the darkening blue of the sky. I just realized this isn't really even a prologue or whatever, so I'm not going to read it verbatim. And also my paraphrasing / summarizing is not remotely accurate to the story in case you haven't caught on. You'll get the gist of it, but I might add a couple things here and there. It says that Jace had a bunch of bruises, which is funny because he didn't. Nothing physical happened to him at all in the entire battle. So once again, we are just off to a great start with continuity errors. I should say that Jace randomly planeswalked to an unknown plane that I guess he's never been to before, which is kind of weird. So he's just like, oh man, my head hurts, and some big old feathered dinosaur shows up. That's right, historically accurate dinosaurs. Which is in stark contrast to the way that they covered Japanese culture, we'll just say Aztec culture, because I'm sure that's coming, and Egyptian culture and mythology, and anything else about Egypt. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Egypt didn't have Nagas. Those are from the Hindu religion. And Japan pretty much didn't have any of the BS that they stuffed into Kamigawa. So the dinosaur is just like running by carrying an egg, and then he looks at Jace, he's like, sup, and then he runs away. I like this narrative already. So then they say, he didn't really recognize the creature, but everything else about his current situation was giving him like massive deja vu. I don't know if that's a reference to some kind of earlier storyline involving Jace because I haven't read any of them. But they're probably just throwing in deja vu because he already has amnesia. What does he also have? 3 exes and an evil twin? Are we going full-blown soap opera right now? Is that where we're going with this? Oh, by the way, there's been a ton of speculation on this, and they actually just revealed it. He is wearing, quote, a blue cloak, long pants, and a tight leather breastplate. In other words, shut up about it being a damn corset. He doesn't wear a freaking corset. Comma, Jeremy from Unsleeved Media. So, Mr. Amnesia Jace follows the dinosaur, as you do, and he comes out on a beach. So he doesn't know why he's wearing what he's wearing, he doesn't know his name, and he doesn't know how he got there. So, that's gonna go well. Now this is interesting. They do sort of imply that he doesn't know that he can planeswalk, in that he doesn't know how to get out of there. That might be an issue. But if he did know how to planeswalk, he would immediately planeswalk away, and it wouldn't be called Ixalan. It would be like, visit to Crappy Dinosaurville. Brief visit to Crappy Dinosaurville. So then it says an image of an unfamiliar place flashed through through the man's mind. They've been referring to him as the man this entire time, you know, as if it's like some kind of derogatory term, which this was written by an SJW, so yeah. Oh, what are his, quote, pronouns? Nothing. Who cares? They're just going to call him the man. I'm going to just call the author the woman then. How about that? That doesn't sound offensive at all. So the woman wrote that color and light and the idea of away flashed into his mind. He's like, oh, let's do that. So he basically tries to planeswalk, but it just doesn't work. Some kind of force either pulls him back, or he just doesn't have enough of like a memory to like actually planeswalk, or I don't know, it's not really clear. So he's kind of panicking, and it says that his heart beat a bruise against the inside of his chest, which is not medically possible. I mean, a bruised rib maybe, but they said inside. So he decides that food and water aren't a priority. He just needs to rest because he's like all banged up, which is weird because literally not one physical thing happened during the fight with Nicol Bolas, although beforehand against the undead, I don't know, not really the way he fights usually. But hey, whatever. And then he just lays back on the sand and tries to remember his name. This is actually hilarious because it says he remembered plenty of names. Laszlo was a name, so was Sam. But he didn't think either of those names belonged to him. But I will tell you right now, go with Laszlo. That's freaking awesome. Laszlo Mind Adept. So he's taking a look at all the awesome Jace tats he's got all over his body, and he's like, why do I look like the last airbender? But he can't quite remember. Imagine that. This whole story has been like, he tried to figure this out, but he couldn't remember. Tried to think of his name, but he couldn't remember. He tried to figure out how he got here, but he couldn't remember. Wow, how dramatic and suspenseful. I wonder if he'll fail to remember crap for the next 5 chapters. Oh boy, I can't wait. So then he's trying to like gather evidence, and he's basically like talking crap about himself. He's like, who would wear this? This is so gaudy. Freaking hilarious. Then he's like, was this person a complete idiot? Like literally it says that. No knife, no food, no rope, no supplies, no personal items, nothing, absolutely nothing. So Jace ends up taking a nap on the beach, hoping that he doesn't get attacked by any dinosaurs, and he hopes so hard that he accidentally and unknowingly turns himself invisible. Very clever. So the next day he walks around, figures out that he's on an island, and it would take about a day to hike all the way around it, which, I mean, pretty much everybody at this point is wondering, how did he know that without doing that? Plus, he actually had time to build an entire shelter, too, so long days on this plane. He also complained about whoever he was not getting much physical activity, apparently, because it was really, really tiring and difficult to build a shelter. So in other words, Jace is a wimp. So he fails to make a fire. He got pretty close, though. This is basically just Tom Hanks at this point, by the way. You know, Castaway. Hey, Jace Castaway, I just got that. They are so ripping off Castaway, like hardcore. Well, except they added Amnesia. So, there's that. Then he sees an albatross flying around above his head, and he says, why do I know what an albatross is, out loud? And it says, the albatross didn't respond. So much drama, so many unexpected twists and turns in this story. So then, something kinda odd happens. He decided, maybe I can just will fire into, like, existence or whatever. So he concentrates really hard on, I don't know, some kind of campfire fuel, and yeah, lights it right up, which is kind of weird considering he uses blue mana. I mean, I guess mana's mana. I mean, it's like, oh, what do you use batteries for? Do you use them for LED lights or for, you know, cooking or making sound? who cares? You short out the battery, it's going to light on fire. Hopefully you guys get the analogy. So apparently mana can light anything on fire because it's energy. So then a fish randomly washes up on shore because story. And he's like, I'm going to cook this. So he sticks it on a stick, sticks it in the fire, and he's like, this is weird. Must be some kind of fireproof fish. He's like, okay, something weird's going on. So he sticks his hand right into the flame, as you do. And nope, just as cold as the dead fish. And then the flame turns blue because story. And, yep, I knew it. This is exactly what I suspected all along after, 3 paragraphs of him celebrating his campfire. It's an illusion. I guess you can't just use mana to light a fire, even though I'm pretty sure you can. He just doesn't know how. So he concludes that he has officially gone insane and is losing his grip on reality. So let me read this nonsensical hipster BS that they put in this part of the story. It had been quite some time since the incident with the fish, and the man had come to accept that things were much simpler now that he had lost his mind. If it was true that his mind was disconnected from reality, then he needn't worry about the logistics of how he had arrived or who... That's not the correct use of the word logistics. How he had arrived or who he had been before. His sanity was irrelevant. If the only truth he could experience was his current reality. If I could read today. How freeing it was to come to that realization. Seriously, that is like hipster, meta, stupid, psychological nonsense. So over the next couple days, he's just like, well, I'm crazy, so I'm going to do whatever somebody who thinks they're trapped on an island would do. So he's making tools and eating delicious seafood or whatever. And of course, naturally, he has, flashbacks of, a cat person, a bailiff, a bunch of crap from like Ravnica in the past and whatever. So then he starts getting into arguments with his hallucinations because, what else is there to do? So then his hallucinations started getting weird. I guarantee this is from Ravnica. I mean, like I said, I don't know the storyline, but I know enough about Ravnica and his guild that, yeah. So he starts hallucinating policies and procedures, section 12, item 4. Seriously, I read that verbatim. I did not just make that up. I believe it was actually Elspeth saying it, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, then what she repeats actually has some substance, so he's starting to kind of remember stuff. She said, policies and procedures, section 12, item 4, official guild representatives may be granted passage from one guild-controlled place of residence or business to another by virtue of an official warrant. Do you or do you not agree that that is a standing law? So then he basically gets bored, it says, so he builds a giant signal fire on the beach, which... sounds actually purposeful, not just, I'm bored. Now, if he made it in the shape of like a giant stick figure and then lit it on fire, okay, that's just being bored. I mean, if he's already hallucinating and he thinks he's losing his mind, he might as well have his own little, miniature Burning Man. But he does say that he wants the smoke to rise high enough that a ship would take notice. So finally, while he's going for a swim, he's like, what if it's magic? What if all my hallucinations are magic and the fire was magic and, it's probably an illusion and, like, somehow he knew magic existed because that's, like, a base level mind thing for him, I guess. In fact, he knew magic existed. He knew there existed people who could manipulate fire or summon lightning or grow trees where none grew before. But he did not know their names, did not know their faces. He had forgotten everything else about himself. Could he have forgotten such a crucial part of what made him him? Question mark. So he played around with the whole I can use magic thing, and it felt as natural to him as, and I quote, I am a man. I dislike crocodiles. 2 things clearly heavily ingrained in his mind. And the author's. So he tries to just randomly use magic in general, and he ends up making an illusionary clone of himself standing on top of the water in front of him. So when he gets back on shore, he's like, throwing a whole big, celebration thing because he's like, I've just been making illusions of people that I remember from my past following me around and honestly taunting me while I'm trying to do work. But it was all magic, and I'm slightly less crazy than I thought. Fantastic. Literally me at 3 a.m. when I hit the melatonin a little bit too hard. So he makes an illusionary horse, makes it run up and down the beach and scare some seagulls, and then he creates an elephant, and then he dispels the elephant and creates a sea monster, dispels that, and makes an illusionary, realm of, I don't know, he basically just made it look like it was nighttime out. He surrounded himself with, an empty void of nothing but stars. Apparently the island doesn't have a planetarium, so you gotta kind of do it yourself. So the next day he wakes up and it says he realized he didn't know what another human voice sounded like, which is provably false because word for word people from his past were saying it from his memory as illusions that he called as real as anything else on the beach or something. I don't know. I read it a while ago. So then he tries to planeswalk again and gets absolutely nowhere with it for some strange reason, which is weird because he's kind of progressing like memory-wise. But, as with most of this story, because story. So then he's like, oh man, I just wish I had somebody to talk to, which, I mean, everybody knows you gotta make a bloody handprint on a volleyball and talk to it. Gotta name it Wilson too. But then he instantly, accidentally creates what sounds like Liliana as an illusion, and she starts talking crap to him. So he starts talking to her, and he's like, I don't know who you are. And then she starts saying stuff that really doesn't make sense. Honestly, it's more things that Liliana actually would say. But if he didn't know that, but I mean, these are memories, but like he does know that, but he can't recall them, but his illusions can, and it's all a mess. But he's like, you know what? I'm going to pretend this is real, and I'm going to interview her. So he says, who was I before I was here? And she replies with, you weren't who you thought you were, that's for sure. No one else saw through you, but I did. You were never a leader or a detective or a scholar. You were a frightened child playing pretend, which, once again, how the hell would that be his own assessment of himself, or how would he know that that's how Liliana saw him? That's pretty much just something Liliana would say. So the logic of this is just painfully not correct at all. I'm going to be eating these words if it turns out it is like an astral projection of Liliana, but wouldn't she just planeswalk there then? Oh, and FYI, pretty much nobody has magic powerful enough to, like, do that between planes without actually going to the plane. So a bunch of more psychological inner reflection, hipster nonsense. And basically he takes 5 days and builds a raft. So he gets a ton of supplies ready and everything. He's got like baskets of fruit and just all kinds of stuff, rope, and he's smart, obviously. And apparently he was in the Boy Scouts or something, because I mean he kind of sounded like magical, yay, let's live in the city, total like not island dude. So then he takes off sailing. I'm sure this will go well. So the first day, sailing, chilling, whatever. Second day, it's all right. Third day, gray and choppy. And the fourth day, because story, the waves grew taller than the mast. Yep. It's a freaking, I don't know, Hurricane Ixalan. I was going to say Hurricane Irma, but too soon, considering it's literally going on right now. But wait, just as things get crazy, he spots a craggy, rugged, rocky island. Oh boy. Oh, but then a wave crashes down on him. Oh, and he awoke draped over the wood of his broken raft. It was night now, and the sea was still. So basically every crappy movie, book, cartoon, and story ever written. So after sleeping for an entire day, for some reason, apparently sitting on a raft doing nothing for 4 days straight is very strenuous, he gets up and he realizes, and I quote, he had traded in a perfectly livable island for an absolutely terrible one. I shouldn't laugh, but it's pretty much how my entire month has been going, so I can identify. So then he's like, okay, I'm going to remember something. So he basically mind melds with himself and I don't even know how to describe this nonsense. Oh, his memories had a different feel to them. He had to go deeper down the well, and some of them had this texture, but others had that texture, but they never really explained why he couldn't, like, enter one or grab onto one and be like, what's this? What's going on here? It's all just like poetry and metaphors and nonsense, and then he comes up from the well of his memory with absolutely zero progress whatsoever. And then for some reason, he immediately tries to planeswalk again, gets pretty close, and then for the second time, some unusual symbol appears in the air ahead of him, or above him. It's like a circle with a triangle or something. I don't know. It looks awfully familiar to me from Return to Ravnica. I don't know if that's just what happens when he planeswalks. I honestly forgot what they said when he did it in Amonkhet. But yeah, he just, once he's like making progress, he finds himself violently tugged backward into the plane that he's currently in, so not really sure why that's happening. It should be interesting, though. Maybe he doesn't have a target, or maybe there's some kind of magical aura that keeps people from planeswalking out, which would be very weird. So he tries to, like, meditate some more, because he's like, this is crap. And he's awakened by yelling in the distance. Somebody says, "Avast! Man on shore!" Yay, the pirates are here. Hopefully it's Captain Jack. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, if you're basically me, do you mean the 90s German Eurodance pop group? Or do you mean Captain Jack Sparrow? Honestly, both, and if they made a movie together, I would see it twice. So Ship is out there launching a dinghy to go to shore, and it's titled The Belligerent. Oh boy. Oh, and then they drop these two bombs right in a row, just like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. First, a husky feminine voice, and at this point you can just already see by scrolling down on the page, it's Vraska. So Vraska's there, and then she says, I'd tell you not to leave, but that point is a bit moot. It's like planes walking into a window, isn't it? Oh, so it is like a crappy one-way street like Madison, Wisconsin. Seriously, don't drive in Madison. It is all one-way streets. I freaking hate that place. Plus, hipster central. Oh my god. So apparently she's stuck there, and he's stuck there because you literally cannot planeswalk out, which is very interesting. So now we've actually got like a very scientific, metaphysical, magical story thing, actual suspense instead of all this mental nonsense and drama. I mean, when I watch Star Trek Voyager, like, I get into the science and why is this happening? And, this is a reference to that thing in physics. And, cool, like the real hardcore background, sciencey stuff. And so, yeah, now I'm actually like on the edge of my seat. Like, why can't they planeswalk out? This is actually getting interesting. Now, y'all have to fill me in on this one because she says, my ship needs a new figurehead, Balerin, which obviously is Jace's last name. And then she says, tell me who you're working for and your death will be a painless one. And how does she know him? Have they met before? I don't know a damn thing about Vraska. I know she's a villain. She's stuck there. Apparently she's a pirate now, and she used to be a planeswalker. That's it. And also she summons, like, I don't know, player death touchers, I guess you would call them. If they hit you once, you lose the game. So, yeah, player death touchers. Let's call it that. So just because of that, I hate her. Oh, and they actually say that her race legitimately is Gorgon. I did not know that. I thought, they ripped off Medusa. But no, they literally ripped off Medusa. She is a Gorgon, like, for real. Oh, pardon me for being from Wisconsin. Gorgon, okay? Shut up in the comment section. Now I'm going to resume calling her a Gorgon. Hey, do you think maybe her ship has a bubbler on it or a soda machine? For the record, we actually say both soda and pop in Wisconsin. So the ending of the chapter is basically like, oh, who's this? And does she know me? Is that my name? And then she replies, Jace, what the hell happened to you? Because, by the way, he's got like a full beard and stuff and looks, kind of rough. May I point out that in his card artwork, I don't recall him having a gigantic beard. So you drop the ball on that one, Wizards, unless he finds a razor in chapter 2. So that's it for chapter 1. Unfortunately, very, very, very few jokes to be made. It's very direct and poetic, and I just realized those are absolute opposites. Well, it's just, this is happening. This is happening. Exposition. Here's what's happening. I mean, it's him by himself on an island. I mean, what's there to do with that? Where do you go with that? So, yeah, I'll tell you right now, the pirate puns, next chapter, you aren't even prepared for the level of pirate puns that I'm going to unleash. I'm going to have pirate wordplay. We're going to have stupid puns. We're going to have jokes. Oh my gosh, the pirate stereotypes. You guys have no idea what you're in for next chapter as soon as they release it. You're going to be regretting it if you don't hit the subscribe button too. Missing the next chapter would be like walking the plank. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this reading of The Old Man and the Sea by Desolator Magic. Please see our website for other amazing books on tape read by Desolator Magic. I'll see you guys next video.